So why don't I go ahead and get started with crude oil? Okay, so just take a look at this 1-year chart, okay, of crude oil. You know, this back in July, we have Independence Day coming up in just next weekend, okay? You could see that oil last July was around $100 a barrel. Now crude oil is down to $60, okay? So huge volatility. And what I'm going to do is, in this presentation again, is I'm going to teach you how to manually trade, okay, news events. I'm going to focus on the energies for the most of the presentation and teach you guys how you can benefit from those news events and energy events that are coming out every single day manually without purchasing any software, and it's just really good stuff. So stay with me. I'm really excited to be presenting today. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to just explain what I mean and what we do with news trading, okay? So the first thing I want to do is I just want to share with you a quick video. This is actually a trade from a recent trade. It's not on an energy, it's actually on the 30-year bonds, which happened to be my favorite instrument to trade back in 2013. And you have any idea why that is? Well, that's because that was when the QE was a very big deal, and every single non-farm payrolls event, and maybe I'm speaking a different language because I know we have a big audience here, but just to keep everyone on the same page, okay, when I say that there are news events coming out every single day, what I'm talking about are different news events that are coming out from different government agencies. So for example, the non-farm payrolls, that comes out on the first Friday of every month. Two energy reports that we're going to focus on today's presentation is the weekly crude oil inventory report, which comes out on Wednesdays usually, and the natural gas inventory report, which comes out on Thursdays. So this report over here, this is actually a bond auction, and I just want to share with you. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do this, okay, in this presentation. So very simple. It's very simple. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my story. I know I didn't really build a rapport with you guys yet. I'm going to share my story later on. But first, I want to just captivate your attention as to the kind of style of trading that we do. So take a look here, okay? Watch this. In this trade, what you're going to see is there's a 30 bond auction, okay? It's a news event comes out, and what we do is we just simply create a bracket, okay? Now, in this case, it automatically went into effect. You see those 4 buys and 4 sells? What happened? It shot in one direction, okay, and Nicholas over here was able to lock in over $500 of profit. Now, I'm going to teach you how to do that manually without having to purchase anything, and that's the kind of bracket trading that we do on news events, okay? So that was actually a good trade for over $562. Now, I know there are a lot of presentations today, and because I'm going to keep to my promise and not trying to sell anything, what I just want to let you guys know is you could mark this down as newjob.info. We're actually going to have a VIP members only webinar. That's something that we do twice a month, and what we do is we just go over all the trades that we've taken from the last 2 weeks. So if this next 40 minutes is exciting to you, you want to learn more information about news trading and about our program, then I'm going to invite you to come to our webinar. You just go to newjob with 2 B's, newjob.info, and I'll plug that into the chat in a little bit, and that's going to give you a registration link for a webinar today at 5 p.m. It's not a sales webinar. All we're going to be doing is you're going to get this. It's actually going to be, I'm not going to even try to sugarcoat it for you. It's actually going to be kind of dry because all it is going to be going over every single report that we traded from the last 2 weeks. No hype, no nothing, just pure results of the last 2 weeks of performance. And then as an encouragement for you to register for our webinar later, I just want to let you know that if you do, I'll be giving you some free goodies, free high-impact portals for the rest of the week. Okay, so let's begin, okay? From this point on, you know, I've established now a little bit of a base. Hopefully everyone's on the same page with me now. And now what I want to do is I just want to start from the beginning and explain, you know, the reason why we trade futures, by the way, for news trading, you know, there are a lot of different ways you could trade. You could trade stocks, Forex. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But first, let's go over the history of futures trading, okay? Let's just spend 30 seconds because I find it fascinating that in 2015, you know, as traders, you know, sometimes we don't really have awareness to the amazing, to the really the point in time that we are right now, the ability for you and I to be able to trade futures. I mean, and also to do it in such a way, you know, even, you know, 10 years ago, you couldn't do some of the same trading that we're actually doing right now that I'm going to share with you. So basically, not to bore you, the history of futures trading dates back about 150 years ago. And the quick analogy that I want to share with you is, as farmers would begin to grow their crops and, technology came in, and for example, the McCormick Reaper came in and farmers started to be able to, build their inventory out, they needed to have bigger markets to be able to sell their goods. And so the way that futures came about was, it first came about with people who actually needed the goods. So for example, if you had a bakery and you needed some wheat and you knew that in December when it's going to be, the holiday season, you needed a large quantity, you could go ahead and let's say right now it's June, you could go ahead and make a contract with a farmer for future, let's say, bushels of wheat to be delivered in December. And guess what? When you make that contract, it has a value now, okay? And then as the months come closer to December, there are a lot of variables that come into effect. For example, let's say there's bad weather. Well, now all of a sudden your contract to have those, let's say, 2 bushels of wheat, now it's becoming more valuable because now it's actually harder to get those goods. So anyways here, bottom line is this: futures dates back to 150 years ago, actually in Chicago, and now, it's just people like you and myself, traders who, we're not interested in the actual goods or commodities that we're trading. We're just looking to make a profit. So very fascinating stuff, and just wanted to give you a quick background. So the agenda for today, we went over crude oil, we went over the history of futures. I'm going to introduce myself and the JV team in just a second, and then I'm really going to start with the basics of News Trading 101. I'm going to go over how you guys can trade crude oil and natural gas, those 2 weekly inventory reports that come out every single week, manually, without having to purchase anything, with whatever system, whatever chart trader you got going on. But for those of you who are new to NinjaTrader or who have NinjaTrader, I'm actually going to illustrate to you how I'm going to manually trade those trades on NinjaTrader. So you know what? The good news is that I believe this webinar could be recorded and sent to you at a later time. So for those of you who actually want to get NinjaTrader down the line, you could rewatch this and then rewatch, some of the techniques I'm going to share with you guys, that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. Excuse me. And then another very important thing as traders is bankroll management. You're going to see in a second, I come from a CPA background and I'm very conservative. So bankroll is something that's important. I'm going to talk to you about it. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you how our software works in case you are interested in it at the very end of the presentation. And then, of course, I have a very special July 4th special offer for you guys. All right? So I'm going to slow it down a little bit because I noticed that at the end of the last presentation, it seemed a little rushed. And I really want to make sure that we go at a good pace. So I'm going to go at a nice slow pace. Again, my name is Eric Spiker. There you see my son Eli. He's actually 6 months now. That's a picture of him when he was 3 months. And there's my wife and myself. We're newlyweds. Got married in 2013. That's my wife Vicky. My story is like this. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I started my career at a Big 4 accounting firm doing consulting work, traveling throughout the states. And basically, I started to learn about futures trading while I met somebody in Texas who was actually a very good friend of mine now, who introduced me to futures trading. Long story short, I started to take a lot of technical courses on futures trading. It became a passion of mine. But really, news trading, okay, that was something that I learned from my partner, Jay. And the things that I'm going to be teaching you today is how I started. Before any software was created by my partner, Jay, that he marketed to me and I started to use, I started to news trade manually. And I'm going to be very candid with you. I was not successful with my manual trading. I'm going to warn you that I don't recommend that you manually trade the news, okay? And the reason why is because you have to be so precise with your entry, and the way that to do what I'm going to share with you, and keep in mind I used to do this back when I was, I'm still a young guy, I'm 27, you need to be fast. And so you don't need to be fast because now we have softwares that could help you out there. That's one of the benefits of the JVV. But you know what? If you wanted to do it manually, I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you how I started. So I'm going to teach you manually how to set up brackets for news trades, and it's really simple. Okay, so sit back, relax, and really take notes here so you could put what I'm telling you into play. Now, Jay Offner, he's the founder of Joe Bracket Breakout. He's a fascinating individual. He lives in Hawaii, actually. And by the way, I lived in New York my whole life, and I just relocated to beautiful South Florida. And actually, I think there's a storm going on right behind me, so hopefully there's no connection issues, but if for any reason you can't hear me or see me, just get Reed's attention and I'll make sure to make any adjustments that I can. All right, so I grew up in Brooklyn my whole life and now I'm in beautiful South Florida. Now, Jay Offner, my partner, he's a fascinating individual. He actually works for the U.S. Navy in submarine tactical development, served in the U.S. Navy submarine warfare for over 8 years, and is currently the U.S. Navy Reserve with over 15 years of line service. And if you're wondering, you know, the mastermind behind the JB software, it's Jay, and he basically uses skill sets from his background in nuclear engineering, and he figured out back in 2008 when, you know, there's really bad economic crisis going on, he realized that, you know what, I see great opportunities on every single news trades on all these different news events, and he wanted to figure out a way to capitalize on that. So he came up with the software, okay, which I'll share with you in the last few minutes. But basically, the software helps you automate the entry. But today, what I'm going to teach you guys how to do is I'm going to teach you guys how to manually trade it, okay? And it's actually a good learning experience because even if you, before you take any software that does X, Y, and Z for you, it's really good to understand what the software is doing for you. And basically, I'm going to share with you. So, News Trading 101. All right, so like I said before, every single day, there are economic news reports that are coming out and being released from different government agencies. So the focus for today in this presentation is mastering the energies, okay, via futures. So the crude oil inventories report, that comes out every Wednesday. Now this coming week, it's a holiday on Friday, so that might mean it might be adjusted. So we'll take a look at the calendar together. But basically every Wednesday, the crude oil inventory report comes out. And what does that tell us? It tells us the supply and the numbers of barrels of crude oil that are being held in inventory. So it's very logical. Basically, if the experts are predicting a number of how much, well, I'll share with you actually in a few seconds an example. But basically, here's what happens. The experts predict before the report comes out how much supply they believe there is, and then the report is released. And that variance, here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to skip ahead. This is a great resource. You might want to write this down at forexfactory.com. It's free. And it's a free economic calendar that you could go on and you could see what news events are coming out. So right over here, you see the forecast is minus 2.1 million, but the actual was minus 4 million. So actually, the supply was much less than predicted. And if you don't know what that really means, when you go to Forex Factory, you can click on detail and it'll explain it to you in simple English. All right? So great resource, and basically we'll take a look at it together in a little bit. Now, before we even dive into what I'm going to be teaching you, I just wanted to bring awareness to the fact that a lot of people, a lot of experts oppose news trading. Okay, in fact, some of you with me right now, you might not be turned on by news trading because there's a lot of negative talk about news trading, and I just wanted to share with you my opinion on why I think some experts oppose news trading. In my experience, I feel that a lot of educators or experts, if you will, the guys I'm talking about are the guys that you see on CNBC, the guys that are on actually television. I think from my experience is that they have big egos, and a lot of them view trading as an art. You might know what I'm talking about. You may have listened into a fellow educator who who loves Fibonacci or loves Elliott wave theory and really treats it like an art, trading as an art, and gives a lot of respect to patterns. With news trading, we don't do that. Okay. In fact, news trading is not skilled trading. I want to make that distinction right now. When I used to learn about technical analysis, when you make a trade, technical analysis, basically you're using your judgment and all the different things that, all the indicators to make a trade. With news trading and the strategy I'm going to share with you, there's definitely a lot of sophistication that goes into it. The most one being the research into knowing which trades have a good pattern of breaking out. But beyond that, we're not in control of what the news results are. Jay and I don't know if it's going to shoot one up or shoot down, but that doesn't necessarily matter so much. What matters is that the strategy I'm going to teach you the JLBB strategy, is that what we're betting is that there's going to be decisive reaction in one direction. So it's very simple. Really, what we're going to do is, just to take away all the hype, is I'm gonna teach you how to set up a manual bracket trade a couple of seconds before the news event comes out. But I'm gonna teach you how to do it in a I wouldn't say sophisticated way, but an orderly way, and just teach you the proper techniques. And just to finish up here, I think a lot of those experts who who in addition to viewing news trading as an art, it's beyond that. They're scared of the volatility that goes on when the news event comes out. And that's why a lot of experts recommend going into trades only after the news event came out. But as you're going to see, or if you YouTube after the event and you see our trades, you'll notice that if you don't get in on the spike a few seconds before, then you're not going to be able to take advantage of that huge breakout. It's too late. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. Now, one of the things that we have in our program is we have these high impact report alerts. And so you don't need them. You could start off with the free economic calendar from forexfactory.com that'll just tell you which reports are coming out. But I'm just going to tell you like this. Just because a report's on Forex Factory does not mean that it's a good report to trade with the strategy. And that's what I was talking about before about it's not skill trading, but there's a lot of homework that we do, a lot of research analysis, lots of hours that we spend in researching the markets. In fact, we trade over 60 reports a month. But what you could do to start off with is you could just start off by trading the red reports that you see on Forex Factory, and obviously trade on Sim because you don't know. You don't know what to expect. And that's the fun part, is that you could continue to learn, you could discover for yourself. So here's what I want to do. So again, before I'm going to switch gears and teach you guys how to do this manually, I want to share with you an example of a natural gas trade, okay? And then we're going to go over a crude oil trade manually from scratch. So this is a natural gas storage inventory report. And basically, what happens is that in our program, you'll get a high impact report alert 24 hours in advance to a report being released. And so we know all the information over here. Basically, it tells us the average first peak of the report, and we also have risk categorization. So this is a risk 5 report. So the actual gas report is actually one of the riskiest reports to trade in our program. And beyond getting lost in the details, what's really critical is that we have a stop loss set up, and we also have a recommended bracket distance, okay, 10. So let me go ahead and illustrate quickly a quick trade here. And then this will be the last example before I teach you guys how to do this manually. Okay, so check this out. Well, in this case, you see what happens is we're 13 seconds away, have the Forex Factor right here in the right corner, and 13 seconds away from the natural gas report being released. Okay, this is a live trade. Watch this. So automatically, the brackets already went up, are there. So we have one buy, and this is what I'm teaching you how to do. We have one buy a couple ticks above the market price and one sell below the market price. And watch this, the natural gas is going to be released, and what we're doing is we're betting that it's going to shoot in one direction and hit one of these and continue to go in that direction. So if it hits our buy, we want it to go up. If it hits our sell, we want it to go down. A straddle, right? Very simple straddle. So watch this. Look, see, this is why natural gas is very scary. Even before the news event came out, it already shot up, okay? It could have been a leak, or it probably was a leak here. So watch what happens here. It already shot up, and you know what? The cool thing about our software is that it does a lot of automation, okay? Automatically, it canceled the other order via OCO, but then it also set up a profit target, and beyond that, it has a lot of safety features involved, okay? So I'm going to teach you guys how to do this manually now, okay? But that was a good trade for $140, and look, the news report, it didn't even come out yet, okay? So let's go back to the webinar here. Okay, and now basically our software, okay, the one that I'm going to share with you later on at the end of the presentation, it's exclusive for NinjaTrader, and also we recommend the NinjaTrader brokerage in case you're wondering which broker to go for. And now I'm going to demonstrate how to do this stuff. And I'm going to just a quick caveat, you know, again, I wanted to make sure this was totally informative and no selling, but you know what, what's uncomfortable for me is I hate sharing. I never market replay. I never do sim trades. I only like to show live trades. But for purposes of just teaching, I'm going to just let you know that that's the reason why I'm going to be doing market replay, to teach you guys how to do this stuff. So Reed, if you're there, just do me a favor because I'm on my VPS now, and just give me some feedback, or actually, you don't have to. As long as folks are participating here, do me a favor and let me know. Can you see my NinjaTrader screen right now? You should be able to see a CL chart. Yes, perfect. All right, cool, because I'm actually on my VPS right now, in case you're not familiar with what a VPS is. And by the way, you know what? Let me go ahead and take out the question box, okay? Okay, I see lots of great questions going on here. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Peter, Murray, Perry. I appreciate the participation. So let's begin. So again, basically what I want to share with you guys again is I want to teach you guys how to set up for news trades, and specifically 2 reports that I want you to practice this week is the crude oil inventory report and also the natural gas storage report. So with NinjaTrader, and the reason why I said that you could do this manually with any futures trading platform is because all we're going to be doing is setting up a straddle. But I'm going to teach you guys how to do that in NinjaTrader because that's what we use. That's what I use, and that's what you need to use in order to use our software. So mark a replay over here. What's going to happen now is I have this queued up. This is in Central Time. Oh yeah, in VPS, that's what I wanted to explain. A VPS, it's really a kind of like if you want a trading edge for news trading, you want to try to get the absolute best connection, be as close to the exchange as possible. So the exchange is actually in Chicago. So what a VPS is I'm actually hooked up into a computer in Chicago that's right next to the exchange. Do you need to have a VPS? Here's my rule of thumb. If you live in the United States, or Canada for that matter, you don't really need it. I would say the first thing to do is upgrade your internet connection, get a better computer. But if you're outside of North America, and I would definitely recommend you have to get a VPS once you want to trade live. But if you're for the folks out in Europe, definitely you need a VPS if you want to trade news trading live. But if you want to practice on sim, you don't. So let's begin. So what I'm going to do here is we're 24 seconds away from the crude oil inventory report that's going to come out on Wednesday. So it's very simple. What you're going to want to do is, okay, and I don't like to use a DOM for news trading. We use the chart trader. It's very simple. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to right-click on my chart here, and you can see you have 2 options, right? You can either do a market order, a buy, or a limit order. And what we recommend doing is, so right over here, okay, this is what you're going to be doing, okay? Here's the proper setup. The first thing is to go to forexfactory.com, okay, but we're going to go a little backwards here. We'll go to forexfactory.com to know which report we're going to trade. So we know now that crude oil inventory reports comes out on Wednesday, 10:30. And the reason why you see this is at 9:30 right now is because I'm 1 hour behind Central Time. We're in VPS, for the VPS. So once we have the forexfactory.com, we know exactly when to trade. And now here we are. So what we're going to do is, okay, this a couple of seconds before the news event comes out. You see we're 24 seconds. I'm going to, let's see here. It's at 61.25. I'm going to, right over here, let's see, 10 ticks above, I'm going to place 1 buy stop, okay? And you may have heard that noise that said one buy stop, and then 10 ticks below this at 16.09. And by the way, ticks, if you're not familiar with ticks are increments that we use for futures. So in fact, let me just take a pause right here, okay? Because maybe some of you are not familiar with what this chart is representing. This is the crude oil inventory. This is the crude oil chart for July 15th. And these 1-minute bars here, this is a 1-minute bar chart. And these different bars are representing the price movements from the previous candle. So the red represents there was a decrease in price, and the green represents there was an increase in price from the previous candle. So this is a 1-minute bar. So what happens is what we do with our manually, this is what I used to do is, okay, I would say about 30 seconds, what I would do is I would place a buy 10 ticks above, okay, that's 10 increments above, and a sell 10 ticks below. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this trade out, and let's watch what's going to happen. Now, critical thing is I'm not even showing you about stop loss or anything like that. All I'm doing is I want to share with you very simply, we're going to just place a bracket. So let's watch this together. So you have a bar timer over here that helps us know that in 20 seconds this bar is going to expire, and that's exactly when the news event comes out. 10:30 Eastern time. It's 9:30 for Central. So watch what's going to happen over here, okay? The news event's going to come out at exactly 9:30 Central Time. And watch what's going to happen here.
Order filled.
Did you see that? We're in the profit right now, okay? And look what's going to happen. We had over $300 on the board. Now, manually what you're going to do is you're going to right-click again, and now because we got filled with a buy, we need, so you right-click and you put a sell limit, and now obviously we want this to cancel, right? We want this to cancel right over here.
Order cancel.
So now we have a sell limit, but we know we have no stop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a stop right over here. Sell stop 1.
Order pending.
And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to left-click here with my profit target. Okay, I'm going to try to get out of the trade over here. Let's see if it.
Order filled.
And I do. Okay, so and now I canceled the other order. So what just happened over here? Okay, oil just shot up. Okay, I think right here, perfect. Here was our buy. Our buy was at 61.27. So right here, you see this blue arrow here? That's where we got filled. Okay, and then like clockwork, it continued to go up. And we got out right over here at 61.56. So we made $290. Now, here's the reason why I never like to do market replay or sim. And I want you to know this because I don't want you to gain false confidence. When you sim trade, and I think this is true not just for NinjaTrader, but for any trading system out there, the demo systems, they don't calculate slippage. Okay, and that's something that I'm not scared to say. It's something that it's part of news trading. So you'll never have a good understanding or a good idea if this trade would have happened if we would have went live, because the demo versions or the sim versions, they don't calculate slippage. So this might not be the exact entry that we're going to have. But the reason why I still recommend that you go on sim when you come on is to just practice the functionality of doing this. But the only way you're going to know whether or not it was a clean entry or not is by actually going live and then testing it live. Okay, so let me just go ahead and I'm going to pause right over here. Maybe I could show you this again, but basically, depending on what system you have, mainly there are things that I could do as well. I could also, automatically include the stop loss and stuff like that. But let me just see if you guys are having any input on that. Let me just make sure if you guys got that. Okay. All right. So let me get feedback on the demonstration right here. Was that helpful? Do you guys want me to redo that and illustrate the steps again? Because I really want to make sure that you guys can implement this manually. Let me know. Perfect. So a lot of great feedback here. Because like I said, I want you guys to do this, and I want you guys to do this without having to buy anything. Okay? So great question. Lots of great feedback here. So perfect. Why don't we go ahead and repeat this demonstration again, okay? And this way you guys will 100% know how to do this on your own. Perfect. So by the way, the cool thing about NinjaTrader is that you have market replay. And so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to 929. Excuse me. And I'm going to go to, okay. So I'm queuing this up again, and I'm going to go over this. Yes, this is AM. Sorry, guys, I'm not monitoring my question box at this time. Okay, and I'll go over this again. So watch this, okay? Now, the number one rule is I want to tell you this: never trade without a stop, okay? That 100%, you should always have a stop in place. In that demonstration, you notice that after we got filled, the stop went into place? No. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. But first, I wanted to explain how it works, okay? Let's do this demonstration again, okay? So watch. Okay, we are 20 seconds before, and this time I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna actually go at a good pace. Watch. 20 seconds. Okay, it's counting down. So now we're 20 seconds away. I gotta move a little bit. Okay, this is at 61.20. I'm gonna quickly go up 10 ticks here. Right click, buy stop 1. Okay, I'm approximating here. I'm gonna go down to 61.10 over here. Sell stop 1. And then what I could do over here is. See that? So as soon as it gets, what I like to do is I like to get out manually. I never hit the close button. Quickly, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click here. I'm going to sell limit here. Okay, and then I'm going to put a buy stop right over here. Okay, now I earned the name, or the nick, not earned the name, is e-money, because what I like to do is I don't care what the results are. I like to just get out of the trade as soon as I see green on the board. So as soon as I see green on the board, I'm going to go ahead and lock the profit.
Order filled.
And there you go.
Order canceled.
Okay, so hopefully that was again a good demonstration. So make sure whatever you're doing this on, and please, I'm urging you, don't think that it's so simple that you could just go live and test this out. Go on sim. Make sure, okay, and I'm not going to even expand about this. Make sure that whatever setup you have manually, that you always have a stop that goes into effect. Okay, you could do that via ATM strategies that automatically kick a ATM stop. But the cool thing about our program is that what it'll do is it will automate the entry, and then on top of that, it'll create a profit target which will automatically show up, and a stop loss that will automatically show up to keep you safe. And beyond that, it'll have a knife switch saved up. And now I'm talking another language to you, but basically it has a lot of safety features in it. All right, so hopefully that was helpful, and I could definitely come back to this in a few seconds, but I want to move on to the presentation. But now you guys know the basics of news trading, okay? This basic straddles. So remember, the key points, forexfactory.com, let's review to make sure we know what time the reports are coming out. Then we want to make sure we're logged on whatever software you're using. Give yourself at least 10 minutes before the report comes out, and then you're going to place those trades. You're going to place those brackets. And it's not always 10 ticks, okay? That's another thing that you're going to have to fine tune. Sometimes it's only 3 ticks above, 3 ticks below, 5 ticks above, 5 ticks below. You're going to fine tune that, but I'm going to tell you guys what to do for this week, okay? For those of you, I'm going to make sure you guys know how to set up. I'm going to give you guys a couple of free reports so you guys can have fun this week, okay? So we only have a few minutes left, but that was definitely something I wanted to teach you guys, and so I hope you guys enjoy that. So why futures? Okay, the reason why we trade futures is because there's huge amounts of leverage, there's an exchange, and in my opinion, it's easier to trade. Some of you might be Forex traders and have actually tested Forex on news trading, and the reason why it's a big no-no is because there's no exchange. And the brokers, they don't like news traders, and there's a lot of manipulation going on. So I heard so many horrible stories. Bottom line is this: for news trading, just stick with futures. All right, I'm gonna basically fast forward because we only have about 7 minutes there. I think we have until 1:45 if I'm not mistaken. But bankroll management is important. So what I want to urge you and let you know is have good bankroll management. All right, what I recommend folks that are coming into news trading is I would say start off with at least $2,500. Ideally 10,000, 5,000 was also good, but $2,500 because here's the reason why. You know, you need at least $1,000 or $2,000 to be able to trade one contract on a lot of different instruments with the strategy that we have set up. So if you have $2,500 in your account, just a couple of losses, you're going to be below the capital to be able to trade. So starting off with a healthier account of $5,000 or $10,000, that's very helpful. And psychologically, you're not going to be scared about losing a trade. And my claim to fame, by the way, is I took a $2,000 account and I turned it into over $20,000 just a few months. And you know, what's funny is that I used to do what I taught you guys just now all the time. I had no idea which news events were good to trade. And then finally, Jay came up with the system and kind of spelled it all out for me. And then like, wow, now I know that this is actually a good report to trade. And I was profitable from the very first trade that I took. All right. I'm not going to go over the trap trade, but basically slippage. Yes, there's slippage involved in news trading, and that's something that you want to be very careful about. But the bottom line is this: the trades that we take, even if there is slippage, we're still profitable. Okay? Otherwise, we wouldn't recommend those trades. We have a new trap trade software, but I'm not going to go over it in today's presentation. Basically, it's the reversal kind of the trade I just shared with you, and maybe I'll share that for a presentation down the line. Okay? So we have about 5 minutes here left in the presentation. What I want to invite you guys to do is, if you guys found this, to be informative and helpful, then join us on our VIP members only webinar. It's going to be at 5 o'clock today. Just go to newjvb.info, and I'll go ahead and plug that into the chat now. Just make sure you register, and I promise you that it's not going to be a sales webinar. Okay, so let me go ahead, www.newjvb.info. come in and register. It's not a sales webinar. It's just going to go over the last 2 weeks of performance by Jay, my partner, the founder. And you're also going, once you register for the webinar, you're going to qualify for free high impact report alerts all week long. Okay. And now, last 5 minutes of the presentation, I just want to obviously, you know, definitely want to tell you guys about our program and the benefits of the Joe Brackett Breakout. Okay. So our program, JOBB. The last 5 minutes here. Whoops. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Just a minute. Okay. So the benefit of our program is that we have an automated software, 2 automated softwares. Okay, we have the Joe Brackett Breakout software and the TrapPage software. So our program, it's a total package where it's not just a software, it's also an educational package. Okay, so we have a members area where you'll learn. I have lots of educational videos to teach you guys how to use the software, and lots of archived data on all the reports we traded going back 2-3 years. So lots of educational videos. You come on board, you'll have videos to teach you the whole way. The value of our JV membership is that you're going to get free software upgrades as enhancements are made. You're going to get licenses for both the trap trade and the JV trade. You're going to get those educational videos, our email. It's support@joebrackettbreakout.net. We're there to answer any of your questions. Those high impact report alerts, okay, those are so valuable. Those come out 24 hours in advance. We trade 60 reports a month now, and you know, the cool thing is that it's a lifestyle way of trading. On Sundays, you're going to have a weekly report that tells you all the trades you're going to take for the following week. And then 24 hours in advance, you'll get this nice PDF that tells you all the settings you need to plug into our software. And our software automates the trade. And all you need to do is close out manually. And then as we're going to have today, we're going to have our webinar twice a month where we're going to go over all the trades from the previous 2 weeks. And we also have a chat room. So I am speeding up the pace here, and I don't like rushing. So let me just slow down a little bit. Basically, the benefit of our program is that you're able to make money on use stress-free. Okay, it helps reduce all that manual stuff that I shared before, and also a lot of safety features. Okay, so to come into our program, the first 30 days, usually it's $197, but because next week it's the Independence Day, July 4th, we're going to knock off $100 today only. It's going to end Saturday at midnight, and it's going to be a final sale. So you need to remember coupon code FREEDOM, and you're going to be able to come into our program for $97 for your first 30 days, and then afterwards, we're not going to bill you. Okay, you're going to make a decision of whether or not you want to stay on with our program. So 2 links, there's 3 things I want you to remember before I get out of here in 2 minutes, okay? The first thing is, make sure you register for today's webinar, which is NEW-JOBB, so it's new job with 2 B's. Okay, make sure you register for that. And then make sure you register for, make sure you also click this link here, newnewjob.com, which will get you to the special coupon page. And what you're going to do is you're going to type in coupon code, it's just FREEDOM. Okay, easy to remember. And let me explain again. So if you come into our program with the coupon code FREEDOM, it's going to be $97. Okay, it's usually $197 to come into our program. It's going to be $97 for your first 30 days. It's a final sale because of the deep discount, and then you'll have access to everything. And after the 30 days, you get to choose if you want to continue. You have the silver package, which is $67 a month, which will give you 1 license. The gold package will give you 2 licenses. And what that means is, like, let's say you have 2 computers. So you have like a trading computer and your laptop. That's why you'll need 2 licenses. With the 1 license, you'll still be able to trade the trap and the JV software. Okay. And let's see here, just to finish things up here. The bonus is that when you come on board, you'll have a free 2-hour bootcamp training that's going to teach you guys how to install and set up the JV software, how to install and set up the trap trade software. And you know what? You do need NinjaTrader to be able to use our software, but that's why for 30 days you have plenty of time to get started, and my educational videos will help you out. So is it worth the hassle if you're not familiar with NinjaTrader? Yes. Get a demo account set up for free. Go to ninjatrader.com. The 2-hour bootcamp is going to help you out, and yes, you're actually going to love NinjaTrader. All right, guys, so again, this is Eric Spiker from Joe Brackett Breakout. There are 3 things that I want you to remember again is make sure you click on our link, newjv.info, to register for a webinar at 5 o'clock with Jay. Make sure you just click and save that jobb.com, so that you could enter into our program later with coupon code FREEDOM. Okay, the FREEDOM, let me just illustrate that for you. I know we're on at 1:45. I'll be done in just a minute here, Reed. Okay, if you go to newjb.info, you're going to see, just going to put in your first name, last name, email address, and you're going to be good for our VIP webinar. And then newjob.com, right over here, you're going to enter your coupon code FREEDOM.